Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be talking about why your front-end application is not scaling. Okay, so you are working with your team, you are having a back-end team, you are having a front-end team, and you are working with your UI, and you want to make it higher, I mean larger and larger, but you are all like group of people, group in your team, in your front-end team, maybe 3, 4 people are there, but your application is not scaling up, right? People have a lot of expectation from you, from leadership people. They want that you guys introduce more and more features, but you are all busy with fixing bugs or fixed with current issues, right? So what are the reason? What are the reason any UI app is not getting scaled up? Okay, there are certain reasons why it happens. The amount of new features are small. Okay, the number of features that in your application that is there, that is small, and people are just fixing bugs. You are fixing only bugs. By fixing bugs, you have not done something correct. That the reason a lot of bugs are coming. Okay, maybe you have not given serious view to the architecture. Maybe the so many things are there that we'll discuss. But your number of features are less, and you are not ready to take more features until unless you take 2 or 3 more developers. You might not be ready as well because the number of bugs are more, might be, right? And the solution is to do end-to-end testing to check most bugs. Okay, basically, when you do automation testing of end-to-end testing or integration test, or all the kind of testing, when you do give more importance to the end-to-end testing part using Cypress or Playwright or anything, the UI testing part. In that case, you will know a lot of bugs through automation testing only, and you don't need to, you'll not face bugs later. I mean, after 1 or 2 sprints, you will not face it. So the solution, if you're having too much bugs, do a end-to-end automation testing using Cypress or Playwright. If you're not done, then it will reduce the number of bugs and it will work brilliantly. Okay, then you can start to look into more features or better architecture or so many things you can do it. That is the first step. You add end-to-end tests so that the bugs go away. That is first thing. Next is you divide application in features. People divide applications based on files like maybe sad folder, some sad folder. Sad folder has a lot of things, right? Don't have too many things in sad folders. Divide your application based on features. Like if I'm a development if I'm doing a e-commerce site, my application is e-commerce, then I will have a features for maybe the apparel section will be one feature, and the apparel section also so many side simple features will be there, right? One for the boys, one for the girls, one for the kids section. And suppose I take the boys, then boys section will have the the component file boys.component.tsx. It will have the testing file boys.apparel.component.tsx, boys apparel.testing.tsx. Maybe a store for the only for the boys, might not be, maybe context, not a store, but at a context for the boys, context for the girls, like that. So for the boys section we'll have 4 5 files. Okay, maybe a service layer also inside the boys, all the API calls are there in service layer. Maybe a sad folder inside a boys component where there are a lot of sad things in the, because the number of components inside boys can also be more, like boys apparel is there inside boys, the age factor is there from 5 to 8 years, a certain kind of apparel, from 8 years and 10 years certain kind of apparel, right? So in that case many components might also be there inside the boys folder. So have feature specific architecture, have the folder structure in such a way that each folder represents a particular feature. Okay, then all of your files will be organized accordingly and you can scale up easily. Okay, now manage your state. Yes, the state management is extremely important. If you want to scale up, you have to introduce state management. Without state management you can't scale up. And state management inside like just end or redux you can use this, or maybe context API also. If you want to go with native use cases, you have to use state management. So and you have to have 90% of state in redux only, because uh, if you use redux, everything will be there in a particular folder like store. Inside that, one actions folder will be there, one reducer folder will be there, and the store folder will be there, where you will have everything in organized fashion. And whenever this with redux store updates, the entire application of that particular feature get updated, right? You don't have to manually do the update. If some issue are there when you're using local state, sometimes you have to manually update, right? Because if the application is larger, use state variables. Local state is of no use. Local state is only for component based states, small state, local state, right? But at a scalable, if you want to look into scalability, then you have to use a store management. Okay, so keep your states in 90% in Redux, 10% localized using state variables. And with Redux, it's easy to manage state as all the state is in one location, so it is good. If you want to have, you can have a server state as well using use query, use React query, or use query you can use to update to, and helps in caching also, right? That also you can do it. Next, clear data flow. Clear data flow is extremely important because you see, you're having the UI, and UI talks to the kind of the interceptor and maybe the service layer interceptor, and there will be one more layer like this. Three different files or four different files are there for the API call to happen and the data to come, and then there will be error file also, right? So these three files should be repeated in every feature level. Like you have a component, you are having a component page or the UI page where the all the represent where you are showing the data, right? Maybe table and everything. Second, you'll be having a service layer where you are doing the all the service calls are there. Okay. Third, maybe you can have an interceptor to intercept all data. So these three files should be common in every feature. So that clear data flow should be there, right? Like for state management, there is a file for Redux, where all the actions will be there. Sorry, all the reducers will be there. There is a file for all the actions in the action file, and there is a file for the store part, right? So you should have a clear data flow. Next is a clear responsibility. Have API contract and don't make variables optional. This will give errors in TypeScript. To fix it, else difficult to debug later. So what it is saying is that have API contract. So you are having a API contract, maintain the API contract and don't use optional. That question mark is there, right? To make it optional. Why to make it optional? Because if you are expecting something, then don't make it optional. That is how you test your code. You test the bugs. To avoid bugs, if you are writing optional, then that is not good coding. Okay, so have API contract, remove the optional part, and let it fail so that you can predict future problems earlier. Okay. Now, next is performance. You use Google Lighthouse and use Sentry and Clarity, and all those tools are there to know the performance metrics, CLS, FTS, and LCP, FCP. All these things are there, right? And you can use the network tools, how much time it takes to do the call, get the result, and show the data. Queued sections, you can get it. All those things, it's all easy. You can find in YouTube a lot of videos out there, right? So use the performance metrics, use profilers to know the how much type the re-rendering has happened of the React components. Okay, using profiling you can do it, and then you use the React memoization and all these techniques out there, right? Lazy loading and all the stuff is there to do it, and this will also help um, in scaling up, because when you don't have all these problems, then you can think of adding a new feature, right? Then build time improvement. If you've not used Webpack or Parcel Rollup, it's high time that you use it. Some people use Learna or Annex to create smaller front-end applications and talk to each other, or micro front-ends using model federation of Webpack. Okay, micro front-ends is a craze right now. I have a very good video on micro front-end that you can do to reduce the time taken to develop or time taken to kind of show the application, build the application. So many use cases are there where using build tools only, your application will become very, very better, right? Now, conditional rendering and feature flags is also important. When you do conditional rendering, do it properly so that your UI doesn't take time to load. You have skeletal, if you are taking time, you use the skeletal flows. Okay. And then feature flags, yes, feature flags is important because if you want to kind of go through this flow or go through that flow, feature flags are extremely important. Use feature flags, and error boundaries also is very important to manage the errors, right? Then create small failures to check code. Don't do only happy path. Yeah, you are doing only happy path. And how to test it? By writing good unit test. If you write unit test, do a lot of testing, then you will, these problems will not happen. Then add feature story numbers in commits. Add your story numbers in commits, and create design docs for architecture changes. Where before you start coding, if it is an important architecture change that is happening, like I get a lot of design documents on breadcrumbs, on store management, a lot of stuff I've created, right? Similarly, any architecture change you are doing, you have to create a design doc, explain it to others and explain it to yourself. Through that, you can improve the performance, you can scale it in a better manner, because you have to plan when you're designing something, you have to plan, right? So these are the things that you have to take care if you are scaling your application, or if you're facing problem in scaling your application, right? Hope you understood everything. Hope you like this video. Please share it with your family and friends. Please subscribe to the channel. It's extremely important, because I'm coming up with a lot of such videos every day. Thank you very much.